This is Emily. She was just 2 years old when a tragic medical error ended her life. Today, you're going to meet the pharmacist responsible for Emily's death. And you're going to meet Emily's father. He's also here. Can he ever forgive the man who took his daughter's life? But before we get to all that, how did such a tragic mistake happen in the first place?
Emily Christine Jerry was born February 24th, the youngest of 3 children. A bubbly, vivacious baby with a bouncy head of golden ringlets. At the age of 1.5 years, she was diagnosed with a tumor growing in her abdomen. Her family was devastated by the diagnosis, but Emily's medical team assured them her cancer was highly treatable and began an aggressive treatment plan. The toddler would undergo surgeries and 4 rounds of chemotherapy, 5 days per treatment, to eradicate the tumor. While Emily would lose her trademark curls in the process, she'd never lose her sweet disposition and infectious giggle. Then, right before her final chemotherapy round, an MRI revealed miraculous good news. Emily's cancer had disappeared to the point where there was no longer any residual scar tissue. To ensure no trace of cancer remained, Emily would undergo one final round of chemotherapy, which began the day she turned 2 years old. On the 3rd day after her treatment, Emily would wake from her nap disoriented and complaining her head hurt. As her pain increased, she began grasping her small head and screaming. As her mother frantically tried to comfort her, Emily began vomiting profusely. Her medical team sprang into action to find what possibly could be going so very wrong. Within the hour, Emily would be placed on life support. When multiple scans revealed little to no brain activity, her parents would be forced to make the heart-wrenching decision to let their daughter go. Emily died March 1st, leaving her devastated family filled with grief and questions as to what really happened that tragic day.
Emily's death was due to a mistake in her medication. Eric Kropp was the pharmacist in charge of that medication. He was held responsible and spent 6 months in jail. And Eric joins me now. I know this is difficult to talk about. Did you know who Emily was?
Yes, she was a beautiful, wonderful child. We had just celebrated her 2nd birthday that Friday of that weekend, so the whole hospital was involved. It was just, everybody just got a shine to her. They just wanted to be around her. She just had a joy. She handled her treatments really well. She would laugh when she was riding her big wheel around the floor. So she was a wonderful child.
Eric, what happened? How did this tragic error occur?
On that day, it was a Sunday, and typical in a hospital on the weekend, you're short-staffed. It was a cold day in February, so the flu was going around, and I was called in after I had just worked 2 double shifts, Friday and Saturday. I was called in again early for Sunday. I was only supposed to work the evening. And I walked in and found out that the computer system had been down for 10 hours. And we were a hospital introducing where all orders were entered by the physician, so there was no charts, so everything was physician entry. So when the system goes down, all the information was gone. You couldn't know about drug that the patients were on. You didn't know what their allergies were. So it became chaos. When the system finally went up and the labels started printing, we had 3 shifts of IVs and oral medications and everything print up. So we had to sort it out to try to see what needed to be done now. I was playing catch up, so we were being in the pediatric pharmacy, we were pretty small. So the table that we had after the medications were made was probably about the size of your coffee table here, but a lot taller. But it was piled up to probably up to my chin of all the stuff that they were making because they were trying to make up and catch up.
So stacks and stacks,
stacks and stacks.
Of pills here.
Yeah.
IVs.
IVs, you know, syringes, that kind of things that the technicians would be making. And during that day, I was finding things mixed up, wrong things because they were rushing so fast. But around noon, the nurse from the floor had called requesting that we get Emily's oncology meds ready for her because we knew she was going home because the family had planned a trip down to Disney World. So we were very sympathetic. We wanted to get her out, get her out of there as quick as possible. It was a Sunday. So I asked the technician, could she start making the base solutions for the chemotherapy agents? Normally those were made during the night before, and we had a silly policy at the time that we compounded everything from scratch. So we took actual vials that were sodium chloride, sterile water, as well as dextrose, and we made our own compounding instead of using commercially made products that were available. And a lot of times we had to do that because with children, they take such small volume into their body that it was easier just to make it up for them. I think when my technician was making the two products, she had compounded the first one, and I think when she looked in, she said it had to put in 148 mLs of solution. She thought she saw sodium chloride vials sitting there, and then she took all three and she injected it into an empty bag. So when I was looking at the table and I was doing the checking process, I asked her, is there sodium chloride in the bag, not thinking that she didn't understand there's a difference between 0.9% and the concentrated sodium chloride. And because the table was crowded, she didn't put all the vials in, so that would have been a trigger for me that there's something wrong.
So just to understand correctly, she's making the vial for Emily to get so she can go home to Disney World. Everyone wants to help. She mistakenly uses the wrong concentration of salt solution.
Correct.
Because you're overwhelmed. There's stuff everywhere. You can't do the normal visual check.
Right.
So you have a bag, you look at it quickly. And
you got to understand, we're mixing clear solution into clear solution, so it's the faith that the right stuff is going into that bag necessarily. And being the only pharmacist in the IV room, and there was 5 of the technicians making up the solutions, you can't see everything that's being done.
How much more salt, which is what sodium is, was added to this solution than was supposed to be?
It was 26 times.
26 times more salt. Can I all show that to you, if you don't mind? I want you to understand what this is about, because again, it's a clear solution going into a clear solution, so it wouldn't be visually evident. But in the body, if I want you to have this much salt with the chemotherapy, it's very specifically ordered for that reason. But instead, the technician, without realizing it, did this. And I bring this up because when you put this much salt into your body, little child's body, 26 times more salt, this reportedly caused her brain to swell and sent her into a coma from which she couldn't recover. What you're supposed to get, what was actually given, it was tragic, it was lethal. Now, Eric, you didn't actually mix this solution in the pharmacy, but you were the supervisor.
I was the pharmacist in charge that day. We didn't have a supervisor on duty that day. So.
But you supervised the technician.
Right, correct.
Right.
And in the state of Ohio and across the country, you just come off the street and be a technician. There was no formal training in force. My technician only had a GED and was trained on the job. So.
Can I ask a question that everyone's probably thinking now?
Yeah.
Did you personally make mistakes supervising their work in the past?
I had once at a time, once. And it's not uncommon because you're just being so rushed. And they say when you work more than 8 hours, you're going to start making mistakes. And there's plenty of times I worked double shifts with no breaks, no lunches, and so it's time. There's chances for you to make mistakes.
When people were writing about you, some of the critical articles said you'd made 15 mistakes. We're back with Eric Kropp. So when people were writing about you, some of the critical articles said you'd made 15 mistakes.
Yeah. Well, when I left and was let go from the job, there was no counseling offered to me, no sympathy, no how you deal with this tragedy that I had gone through with Emily. And I never intended on hurting someone that day and, not asking the right questions to, I thought I did, but, you're in a rush, crazy situation. You miss things, you miss the red flags. And they thought I had done drugs or was drunk on the job, and that wasn't the situation. I just happened to make the wrong check. And, my mind say, when you're in that situation, you want to physically do harm to yourself, and nobody was there to help me. And I finally just said I can't work anymore, and I left the job. But unfortunately, I had been making mistakes along the way, you know, and that's not uncommon when you are in this traumatic stress. I was living horrible night. I was having nightmares every night, reliving that whole day, the stress of the day, and I shouldn't have gone back to work when I went through this.
Can I update everyone else on what happened to you? So a week after Emily's death, Eric was fired from the hospital. His pharmacist license was revoked, and he's also found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 6 months in jail. There were no charges filed against the pharmacy technician who actually mixed the compound. There's only really one big question you're going to have to answer in your life. Do you accept responsibility for Emily's death?
Yes, I do. I mean, I shouldn't have put myself in the position that day, and I blame myself, and I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life.
You were held responsible personally because you didn't catch the error. Do you think others should have been blamed as well, should have been held accountable?
I think the hospital should be, they put me in a situation where I was understaffed. The system had been down. There was no plan of how to handle when the computer system goes down, or if there's a major, if the lights or the power goes out. There was no plan in action. So I just took action because patients needed the care.
So several states, as you know, don't have any requirements for pharmacy technicians. That's the person who actually mixes the medications in a lot of hospitals. So there are men and women mixing and preparing life and death medicine who are not formally trained, not certified. After Emily's death, Ohio, where you were based, created Emily's Law, based on her. Now technicians must take a competency exam. We reached out to Eric's former hospital, and here's what they said in part. Shortly following the event, we acted quickly to structure our operation in full compliance with Emily's Law, its requirements and spirit, including comprehensive education for pharmacy staff. That's the University Hospital said that to us. Eric, I can see the pain this has caused in you. The tragedies affected your life in many ways. They go beyond losing that job.
Yeah. I've lost everything. I lost friends, relationships with people. I was called a monster in the media. I was called a killer. I mean, I had to serve time with people that I used to turn away from the pharmacies for seeking drugs. And, with healing and everything, I've moved on and I'm trying to help make sure technicians are being trained properly. I work with universities and colleges that are training the technicians, so I helped them set up programs.
So will you stick around?
Yes.
Because up next, Emily's father's here. What he thinks about what happened that day, the day that his daughter died, and can he ever forgive this pharmacist? Stay with us. I was shocked to learn that preventable medical errors are the third leading cause of death, yet less than 10% are reported. Now, Emily had been in and out of the hospital for cancer treatment since she was 1.5 years old, but her cancer was no longer visible when an error in her final chemotherapy treatment ended her life, just days after her second birthday. This was a preventable death. We're joined now by Emily's father, Chris. I'm very sorry. A little angel of yours. I know that she looked like one.
Even before she became one, right?
Yes. And I'm not her father. I'm sure you're even more biased, but a beautiful little girl. Did you feel that the hospital staff was taking care of her well, that they were conscientious in her management before this error?
Yes. Naturally, right after Emily's death, when people hear about how tragically she died, the first question that many have for me is, Chris, weren't you mad as hell at the medical facility where this happened? Weren't you mad as hell at the clinicians? Mm-hmm. And I know it may sound odd to many, but it's truth. The honest answer to that is no.
Why not?
The reason I wasn't angry, I believe, first and foremost, was due to the grace of God. A very close second to that was every nurse that came in contact with my little girl loved her up like she was her own. And took care of her like she was their own.
I know, having worked with parents with sick children, that it's hard on the entire family.
Yes.
You didn't just lose your daughter, that day.
Right. I lost my entire family. We all grieve differently. I believe that Emily's mother got stuck in the natural second stage of grieving, which is anger and rage. And this just consumed her from the inside out.
Your daughter's death was preventable.
Yes.
That's clear to everybody. I want to bring back the pharmacist, if it's okay, who's
Yes.
responsible for your daughter's death.
Yes.
Eric, if you don't mind, come on up. And thank you. Chris, I'm going to leave this to you. I'd love for you to express to Eric what's in your heart. You're speaking to the man who's accountable for the loss of your daughter.
Eric, it's so good to see you. I want to apologize to you for not being there when you were going through that, all of those ugly court proceedings. You were being vilified for what happened in my daughter's death. I never believed that you were the cause. Root cause analysis right after Emily died proved that no one clinician was responsible for Emily's passing, that there were multiple breakdowns in the systems that you were working in.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't mean for it to happen.
Thank you.
Eric, how does it feel to hear Emily's father forgive you?
It takes a lot of the guilt away. I mean, I still live with the guilt, but to be, to have someone understand what I've gone through and give me some forgiveness, it's helped me so much in the last couple of years. And, we've made, because of it, we became friends and we worked at trying to make changes so that none other Emily would be out there. It's something you can't describe. It's horrible.
The Emily Jerry Foundation.
Yes.
Merck just pointed to it. Tell the audience a little bit about it.
Right after Emily's tragic passing, my concern became immediately, I became fixated on, I didn't want what happened to my daughter, Emily, to happen to others. And I felt called to establish the Emily Jerry Foundation in Emily's honor, trying to stay focused on the modification of core systems, processes, and protocols in healthcare, which is what the Emily Jerry Foundation now does today. Trying to identify ways to eliminate the probability of human error from creeping into the equation during the course of treatment for all patients. Many people in the public are unaware is the third leading cause of death in the United States today.
I want to thank you very much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
You know how difficult it is. Eric, for coming on. Some final thoughts. There are two kinds of medical mistakes. There's catastrophic ones and non-catastrophic ones. And when there's a catastrophic risk of a mistake, there needs to be as many levels of review as possible. We're talking about professionals, but also parents, relatives. Ask questions. Everyone in between, get involved. I want to encourage you all to ask about stuff that's going on in your lives because no one else cares about it more than you do. For more information on how to prevent medical errors, go to our website. I'll be right back. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.